Hey Kevin, did you say do all the headliner stuff before you cut out the front? Is that what you said? Or was that...
No, cut out the visor first.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to do all your trimming first. You're going to cut out your visor and you're going to cut out the square indications first. That's like the first thing you do. Oh, here's another cool trick. So if use the pencil on here. That's okay. So you're gonna mark right here in the corners, right, of where you're gonna be trimming out the helmet. And as you trim it out, if you're using a Dremel, so I use with the is it the carbine disc? It's the larger disc, not the sand disc, but the larger one. It's like a
a cutting disc?
Yeah, it's like a cutting disc. It's like a fiberglass kind of look. Okay, I use that because it's a larger diameter, and that gives me a little bit more room to make sure my Dremel isn't gonna like scar the face. You can put painter's tape over the areas that you think your Dremel might be coming kind of close to, just to make sure you don't accidentally nick it. But as you cut through, and you look from the inside, the wall thickness of the material isn't going to be right up to this edge here. So you need to kind of put your the Dremel wheel, the sanding wheel, on and come in from the inside, and then bring the wall thickness to that edge so that the visor will sit flush inside. Let me see if. Okay, so John's almost there. If you know, it's just minor. So if you can kind of see, that right there is where it would stop, but you can bring, he can bring that in up to that little lip right there. And you see how it's a little bit thicker right here, a little thinner, a little thinner. It varies. That's because when you're rotocasting, it's going to change. But you want to try to Dremel that up all the way to the edge of what would be indicated from when you traced it from the outside. Same thing with the dome. You can kind of notice how it's like a little bit uneven. Just clean that up so you can come right up to your edge. It'll be more visible. The edging will be a lot more visible because you're going to be tracing that out first.
So does that make sense? You're just trying to get an even flat edge?
An even edge, yeah. Up to, you can kind of see it in it if you see where it's at? He didn't mark it, so it's not that visible. Yeah.
A little bit there.
Yeah, so that's why I say I recommend marking it first.
That thing.
And there you go. You didn't mark it first, huh? Oh, you got to go here?
Yeah, I got to go.
All right.
We can probably mark.
Oh, yeah.
We'll come down.
Coming down? All right, cool.
For dumplings, yeah.
For dumplings. Well, barbecue or something, right?
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. All right, see you later. Thanks, Henry.
Okay, thank you.
So that's just another little trick to make sure that the visor is going to sit nice and flush up against the edge, and it's going to keep the illusion of the thickness of the helmet true to what it should be. Okay. So you can only cut out so much of the visor. The corners you're going to have to do with the hand file. Okay, it's only going to allow you to come down so far with the Dremel. You just you're limited with the tools. And he hasn't. Okay, so he hasn't drilled that.
Does the notch of the headband fit in that area there or not?
It actually sits just right below it.
Oh, okay.
Because it your head is just. I was hoping it was going to fit there. Size-wise, it would, but the angle of your head in the helmet, it does, and it sits right below. And it was kind of when I was designing, I'm like, oh, it might be able to fit just right there, but it actually just sits a little bit lower. So I didn't get that lucky.
Yeah. Mr. Leadfoot.
Okay, so let's see. That's pretty much it. So these are the pieces you absolutely must use. Those pieces you don't need. Headband is an option. I just include it. I include it because you have to use these pieces. So I go ahead and include it in the kit. Whether you use it or not is optional. It all just depends on the size of your head. Okay. And like I said, these are the pieces you don't need to use. I don't know if any of you know it, but this is the headband that was actually the same manufacturer made these headbands for the original Return of the Jedi Biker Scouts.
Really?
Yeah. So the gray part that you see on the Biker Scouts, that's it.
Huh.
Yeah. So I just thought it'd be kind of a cool little tribute to incorporate that into the helmet. Which then brings me to the ARF helmet, which was, it kind of has a very Biker Scout look to it. Although the gray pieces are not seen because the visor covers it, I just thought it'd be kind of a cool little thing to incorporate the whole Biker Scout look into something that probably was influenced from the Biker Scouts as well. So I'll grab one of these ARF helmets over here. So it's obviously, it has to be done in two pieces. You've got the helmet, you've got the what I call a full ring visor. It's not just like a frontal visor like with Fox or Cody or any of them, whereas it's a full ring. Again, this helmet kit comes with the exact same headband. The visor is already pre-drawn for you. Okay. What makes this helmet a little bit unique is this visor needs to be mounted from the outside. Okay. Not from the inside. It's from the outside, and that makes it a little bit more challenging. That means you've got to cut it exactly to this line. Okay. This line is going to tell you exactly where it needs to be. In addition to that, cutting it out. Let's see. Who did we make number 5? Whose is this?
Yeah.
Edwin? It's okay if I draw on this?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, let's cut the whole thing out.
So what you want to do for the ARF is you're gonna kind of something like a crescent moon. See, like that crescent moon area? You're gonna leave that. Okay. Same thing right here. Right?
Mm.
Okay. You're gonna leave that area and a little bit here and a little bit right there.
Is that marked on the helmet, or you just drew it on there?
I just drew it on there. It's not marked. Sorry. This was kind of a, oh yeah, how am I going to hold the visor in place? All right, I need something. So it's kind of after I've already finished the sculpting. So that gives you 4 locations where you can glue the visor, and it helps keep it from popping in. All right, so that you got your crescent moons where you can glue center and then above the nose. So with this cut out, take your time. Use a drum. We'll cut it close, but use your drummer wheel. And you're going to want to constantly check it. And it's going to surprise you. It's going to feel like it's a little longer than it needs to be, or a little short. It's going to kind of keep playing with you until you can snap it in there all the way. Then you're going to know it's going to seal all the way from sides. Because as you're doing it, you're going to think you've cut it too short. But just keep playing with it and making sure that it fits in there completely flush. You can see on that one, it's that's how it should be. It's not. It's just very slightly recessed into the helmet. And that was the only way that I can get that look from the animated series, is to do a outside mount rather than an inside mount. This is probably one of the more trickier things about the helmet, is just make sure you're cutting this out. And again, it's CA glue. You drop a little bit there and you hold it. I would not use any of the zip kicker for this. Don't use the accelerant. Don't try to rush it, because you've got to remember at the point that you're gluing this in, there's absolutely no tape. So there's no protection of this lens. So that the accelerator, you're not going to want it on the lens. It could destroy the lens as far as fogging it up or putting spots and putting chemical burn into the lens. So just using a little bit of CA glue. If you wanted to back it up on the inside with hot glue gun, you could. But pretty much in the CA glue, if you've got a nice clean bond, it's going to last. It's going to stay there. And if you've cut it out just right, it'll sort of snap in place. Not a true snap, but it'll kind of lock in, and within itself, it'll kind of stay in place.
Are the edges on the are they beveled at all, or is it like a straight 90-degree cut on the edges?
Pretty much a straight 90-degree.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think I have any beveled. Yeah. The only tricky part gets around the nose. So this peak right here, that's the part that's it's really going to be kind of a little tricky. And I think on the right side here. Yeah, on the right side, there's a little bit of it's not quite as a nice clean edge on my helmet here. So you can either kind of clean that up or make the adjustment with the visor, so that it falls, it snaps in place a little bit better. Let's see. All right, so, and then this one comes with the aerator also, which I would attach after you're all done painting. So I would just paint this aerator piece completely separate. And then attach it in place and just center it within the recessed circle area. Again, with the headband thing, if you're going to use it, the same idea. You drill it out, make the square. The whole process is the same as far as the headband goes with the standard grunt. Making sure the metal ring is slightly depressed with the hammer, so you get enough thread bite. If you want to use the Velcro on the inside, attaching it to the lip of the headband so that it keeps from tilting forward and backwards, you can do that. A nice little thing that I kind of incorporated my own little idea was to add the trapezoid shapes back here. You can cut these out, all of them. There's enough strength with just these bars in between. Cut that out, it gives you a lot more airflow. Because with the visor on, you can actually turn your head towards the wind. It'll catch the wind, bring it in, Oh, it's beautiful. It's just, you feel that when you've been trooping a while and you want to cool down. In addition, these vents up here you can cut out. The cool little trick about cutting these vents out right here is from the inside. Use the wheel and just skin the extra material that's just kind of sitting there, and just carefully, you know, bring it down to a nice even level, and until you start kind of seeing the light come through. I wouldn't cut out the top one, but at least that'll give you the 3 open vents right there. And if you want to put screen back there, you can. I mean, they're kind of small slits, and when you're wearing it, it's kind of dark inside. You don't really, it looks black through there anyways.
So I wore the ARF for Santa Cruz. I have no fans in there, and I was not hot. There's enough.
Did you cut the back pieces?
It's completely cut out. It's completely cut out.
I didn't put screen in yours though, did I?
I put, there's just a screen on the sides for the two,
Yeah.
the dual holes in the sides.
If you decide to drill those out, okay. I drilled yours out. I drilled all of the other ones I've done previously, as far as our group that we did in our garrison. We drilled them out, and we put screens in there. I've now seen better images that there's not actual holes there. They are just like this. So you can paint them solid, or you can drill them out for the air. Either way, they still look dark in there. So either way is right. The screen, you know, just gives you a little bit, not much airflow. If anything, it probably is better sound because it's right next to your ears. If anything.
I was just amazed that, you know, out in 75-degree weather, and I was not hot. I wasn't sweating. So and they have no fans in there, so you do get a lot of ventilation there, which is pretty slick.
Yeah, just turn your head towards the wind. Feel that wind coming. Just turn your head.
Yeah.
In the I don't know what you want to call it, in this area here, I went ahead and I molded it with the screen texture, so you don't have to cut those out. Okay, it's already done. Just paint them black in there.
All right.
So you don't have to put the screen there. So that kind of helps simplify the assembly there a little bit. There's not a lot of cleanup work. I try to make the edging pretty much where it's not going to be seen. I mean, you're not going to see this, but if you want to clean that up, you can. It's right on the edge of this middle ring here. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit more about the full ring visor for the ARF helmet. So I've already explained kind of details of where to cut that out, trim that out. With the visor, on the edge here, with the little green line, I wrote cut off. You're going to want to cut that off. Okay, that is what, in that little angle there, that's what's going to help it snap into place. First, go ahead and cut out the areas here, clean up the edging. One area you want to be a little careful of is these tabs. It is slightly fragile here because the material, I want to keep it a little bit lightweight because you're already adding something to the helmet, okay? And just adding more weight, I just figured, you know, it is slightly on the fragile side, but if I add a lot more material, then your helmet's just going to become too heavy.
What did you add it with? Did you use a Dremel, or did you use the belt sander to smooth it out, or how did
The Dremel.
The Dremel for all that?
Normally, you guys are a little bit special. Normally, I kind of cut this area out with a jigsaw. Okay, top and bottom, I kind of cut it out with a jigsaw just to remove most of the material. But that vibrates a lot, and in fact, I had to drive this all up there in the car. I didn't want to risk any of these tabs breaking during transfer because I didn't bubble wrap and box all this stuff up for you. But you can just take your Dremel wheel, the disc, okay. Try to get as close as you can to the pencil marking here, and here, and all along. All right. Really take your time when you're coming to the side areas here, because this is where it's most fragile. And just don't tweak your blade. Keep a nice string cut. When you're coming to this front area here, try to have your blade in this direction. Okay. You don't want to cut in this direction because then you'll end up cutting through the top. Okay. If you want to cut it, you know, further back here, and then use your Dremel wheel to blend it inside here towards the lip, that might be a little bit safer. Plus, the thickness in here is probably going to be a little bit thicker than what it is down on the edges here, just because of the rotation of the material. So it's a little front heavy, so it looks, you know, a little bit solid across the top here when you're trooping with the helmet. Yeah, it's really it. You know, just try to get as much done as you can with the Dremel using the wheel, and then you're probably running into some of the files to get into the corner areas here. And the top here, you can just use your wheel and then use the round sanding wheel of the Dremel to clean that up there. This one you don't need to worry about, like, the thickness of the material as far as to make sure things are gonna fit. It will. It'll. Once you've already cut this off, yours is removable, right?
Yeah,
Your
you pop
visor?
it off.
Yeah. Let me see that. That'll explain a little bit more what I'm trying to say. All right. So the material kind of is a little bit thicker here, as I was saying, than it is down in here, okay, and around the edges. It's not as thick, but this is to give a nice, good illusion of a solid brim to the floating visor. And see, it'll fit this helmet already. It's not even cut out. But you need to make sure that you trim the tabs, like I've shown here. See where I said the green where to cut? You need to have that angle. It needs to be just a little bit shorter so that it falls into the recessed area here. Okay. And that's pretty much it for the visor. I mean, there isn't a whole lot of detail cutting you got to do other than just on the tabs and just cutting out the excess material. And then to put it on again, it's just show you. So it's over the back of the cone. You want to line it up there. Make sure it's lined up on each side, and then just push it down. That's it. Okay.
So it doesn't really snap in. So it's just.
It is snapped in. Same thing. I'm pushing on it. It's snapped.
Okay.
I mean, I won't hold it by that. I've kind of been trooping in mine quite a bit. I actually ended up dropping a little bit of CA glue in the corners here, just because sometimes I take it off, and when people might turn it upside down, it could snap free and fall. Because some people carry their buckets like this.
You bump your
do one
leg.
of those, whatever. It can come off. So it's a nice thing to kind of take it off and be able to show, oh look, I've got vents in the back. I stay cool. It's all blah blah blah, whatever. But in the episodes, they've never removed the visor. There's really no reason to have it, completely removable. If you're going to be trooping in it, glue it. If you're going to display it, then maybe leave it a removable piece.